If you are building your AI agent right now, you are probably stuck in what I called builder purgatory. You want your agent to get smarter, so what are your options? You either hard code massive brittle prompt chain that break a second the user asks something different, or you basically bite the bullet, run a cluster of 800s and try to parameter fine-tuning. But what if I tell you that none of these approaches are necessary and there is actually a better way to tackle this? So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome everyone to the channel, AI Fun Fact for All. For those of you who are in the channel, my name is Pedram. I have a PhD in computer science and 10 years of experience in AI and machine learning. And in this channel, we talk about how we can use these AIs in order to make our life easier. Let me talk about the months that almost made me throw my computer out of the window. Last year, I was working on AI agent for an enterprise project. So we needed an agent to get smarter over time on some specific tasks. So I did what an engineer with big cloud budget would do. So I tried to fine tune it. I spent weeks tweaking the parameters, bending through the GPU credits. Finally, it gets incredibly good at the new task, but a few months later, ChatGPT 5 came and exhibited matching, if not better, performance out of the box. So we were thinking whether we made a correct choice then. I read an interesting paper in 2025 called Memento, and honestly it felt reading the exact solution I needed back then, and concepts can actually valid up to this date. The researcher proposed a completely different way to make agents smarter, and it crushed top tier benchmark like GAI back then with updating only a single parameter of underlying language model. So it fundamentally shifted how we should think about agents memory. In this video, I want to walk you through 4 pillars of this paper, not looking at the complex math. You can actually look at it in the description of the video going through the paper itself, but I want to go over the mental model and how we can actually use it in our own project. First big shift is moving away from changing the model brain and instead giving an experience log. The paper uses concepts called case-based reasoning. So think about a master mechanic fixing a car. If you hear a weird engine knock, they don't go and read the entire Ford manufacturing manual. They think, wait, I heard this exact sound in a Mustang 3 years ago, and replacing the spark plug fixed it. So Memento give AI this exact same analogy reasoning. Every time the agent tries to solve a problem, it logs the situation and the action it took and whether it was successful or not. So over time, it builds a massive searchable diary of its own life. When it faces a new problem, it just pulls the most relevant past experience. But how does it actually do it? This brings us to the second pillar, separating the architecture from the construction worker. So Memento uses a strictly decoupled architecture. You have a planner and an executor. So imagine you want to build a house, you don't want to have a guy pouring concrete, also trying to design a blueprint at the same time. So the planner is the architect. It looks at the user complex request, dips into the diary of the past experience and writes a clean step-by-step blueprint. Then hand that blueprint to the executor. The executor is now worker with the toolbox. It get out, run the Python code, scrap the web, analyze, and blah blah blah. So it report back the result, and the planner update the diary, keeping those roles separate. It stop AI from confusing and getting trapped in an endless loop. Now you might be wondering, if the agent has thousands of past experience in its diary, how does it know which one to look at? This is the third and maybe the most brilliant takeaway. If you just look at basic keyword matching like a standard vector database does, you often get garbage. Just because two problems have similar words doesn't necessarily mean they have the same solution. So instead of to use a tiny, incredibly fast secondary algorithm, soft Q learning, you literally train it on a basic laptop CPU in seconds. All this algorithm does is that it's now look at the current problem and predict, if I use a specific past experience as a guide, what is the statistical probability that I will be successful? It's learns to retrieve memories based on how useful they actually are, not just because how similar they look on the paper. And that leads us to the fourth takeaway, which contains two massive plot twists that completely changes how the industry is operating right now. The plot twist number one is that fast thinking actually beats slow thinking for planning. We are in the area right now where everybody is obsessed with deliberate slow thinking model that spends minutes pondering a problem. But the researcher found that using a fast and a snappy model as a planner actually works better here. And why? Because when a slow thinking model ponder too much, they generally overly philosophical, massive, complex plan. When they hand it over to the planner to execute it, the executor got completely overwhelmed and failed, and structure brevity wins. And that kind of aligns with the whole context rot issue. The plot twist number two, quality absolutely destroys quantity when it comes to the memory. There's a huge trend right now of stuffing an AI context window as many as example as possible. We recently realized that's not good, but back then the Memento team proved that giving the agent exactly 4 historical examples resulted in absolute big performance. When they give it 5 or 10 or 20 examples, the agent actually got dumber and got failed more often. So curation matters infinitely more than volume. And there you have it, guys. We went over the Memento paper and kind of tried to draw a conclusion from it on how we can actually deliberately and systematically try to capture the previous experience to be later used in our agent rather than relying solely on chance and whether it can pick up at that current moment. Does it mean that the area of relying solely on expensive, fragile fine-tuning to make the agent smarter on a specific task actually completely over? By giving an agent a diary, separating your planner from the executor, and retrieving just a handful of high-quality past experience, can you build an AI that adapts to new and complex tasks in a matter of hours and very cheap? So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it. More importantly, subscribe to this channel. It helped me understand that these contents are helpful, so I make more of them. If you are a builder, I think you also like this one that I talk about how you can use Gemini CLI and Cloud Code completely for free, or you can watch this one that I talk about recursive AI and how it is actually trying to kill the basic RAG. Thanks for watching and see you until the next one.